At a certain point, the studios have to start taking this kind of stuff very seriously. And I mean that. They have to start taking this very seriously. What we have here is an example of this rumor that has been spreading around about negative reactions to test screenings from the new Superman movie. I did a little bit of digging because I wanted to make sure I had all the information before I sat down and chatted with you guys about this. As far as I can find, unless I'm wrong about this, and let me know in the comments if I am, there's been no official test screenings of this movie as of the time of people making these tweets. It's been stated by several different outlets that there's been no test screenings. So as far as I can tell, no one has been watching this movie and giving negative reactions other than people who are shitposting on social media. So Austin here is just one of the many accounts that I have seen sharing this and spreading it, saying that it's from the N. Schneider. So the N. Schneider is somebody known for giving a lot of scoops. Sometimes they're legitimate, sometimes they're not. So you never know when to believe anything that he said or any of these other scoopers, to be quite honest. He had sort of a meltdown. I don't know if you guys remember or not. There was a spiral meltdown with him on social media like a couple months ago. But here's the issue with this kind of stuff. First and foremost, when it is just a random comment without any sort of corroborating evidence, you already kind of put the question mark behind it. Reportedly, maybe, possibly. We talk about this on the Nerdcast, the Nocturnal Nerdcast. Shout out to the Nerdcast. If you're not subscribed to the channel and watching the Nerdcast, you absolutely should be. We talked about this on the Nerdcast. When you see comments like that, you have to sort of take it with a grain of salt. But that's not what the big issue is. The big issue is we know that. Fam, we know that. But a big chunk of the public doesn't. And I know this for a fact because I talk to people IRL. Hard to believe, but I do. Talk to people IRL, just chatting with people in the public. And they see these things pop up on places like Instagram, Facebook. It kind of starts here and then it goes other places. You start to see it on TikTok. You start to see it on Instagram. You start to see it on Facebook. You start to see it on Reddit. It kind of spreads all over the place. And these guys don't really care. They don't care if it's actually true or not because it doesn't matter. They'll have these little insider podcasts. They'll say something and then it doesn't matter if it's true or not, right? It doesn't make a difference to them. But ultimately, this stuff, we're seeing it more and more with movies. This kind of stuff affects the projects that are coming out. Because when it leaves the fandom and it goes outside of the fandom, and trust me, with a movie like Superman, it is going to go outside of the fandom. When it leaves and it goes outside of the fandom and it ends up on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, to all of the, I hate to use this term, but all of the normies out there, I don't mean that derogatorily, but all the normies out there see this stuff and they think about it. I've seen conversations where I've had to correct people and say, as far as I know, I've not seen any actual proof that the screenings were received negatively. I haven't seen that. They're like, yeah, but these are Hollywood insiders. Like, you got to use common sense, everybody. You have to use common sense. This is a negative for the movie before the movie even comes out. It's called astroturfing. We see it a lot of times on the negative channels. You guys know I talk about that on my Debunks channel. It's astroturfing to cause the movie to be financially unsuccessful. Again, I don't think these guys necessarily care if the movie performs well or not, because they don't seem to think there's any responsibility in what they're doing when they say negative stuff. I'm talking specifically about the N. Schneider here. I don't know about John Roca specifically, but Jeff for sure has said stuff that has been wrong, and I think it's affected movies. They do this stuff, they don't care, and then we as fans have to suffer when projects and properties don't continue because people have a bad impression of early reviews, early reactions to this stuff. So I don't know what the studios can do about it. I mean, other than be more transparent about whether or not they're doing test screenings. You know what I mean? And saying, no, there's been no test screenings or whatever. I know that James Gunn has tried to go after a lot of this and say, oh, you know, it's not true. It's not true. But, you know, I don't know if he should care. He should care about this, I think, personally, because I don't want to go into this new universe with all of this negative stuff surrounding it when it's not true. Fair enough if this is true stuff. If there were actual things that were a problem that the movies that it was suffering from, and they wanted to talk about that, and it was legitimate stuff, fair enough. Fair enough. But what happens here is, and any of these guys can do this. I could do this. I could be like, I've heard that the Superman movie has Darkseid in it. Third act has Darkseid in it. That's what I'm being told. I'm being told by people it has Darkseid. And then when Darkseid isn't in it, I can be like, well, maybe I had bad information. I won't go back to those guys again. I can say that, and there's literally no recourse to that. Like no accountability, nothing. There's nothing for that. So I don't know what the studios are going to do. I don't know if there is an easy solution to this, but I will say, as a fan who wants the movie to do well, hopeful about the movie. If it's bad, it's bad. But I like to go into the movie hoping it does well without any additional baggage. These guys aren't helping. They aren't helping by platforming uncorroborated information to the public. So I could be totally wrong. Let me know in the comments. Are there actual test screenings happening with legitimate sources coming out and saying that the movie is a mess? Is that happening? Is that actually what's going on? Because I don't see anything. And I've been looking through Twitter and Reddit for a while now, before I made this video, to see if I could find anything. And a lot of it is sus stuff. It's a lot of sketchy stuff. There's not a lot of legitimate stuff happening. Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe, like, all that stuff. Join us for the Nerdcast. We would love to have you. See you then.